Hello taxpayers, hope you're doing well. Today we're going to talk about the new W-4 form. It's the form you get when you take a new job and your boss needs to know how much you want withheld from your paycheck. But I gotta tell you, this form has been a disaster. You know, IRS was trying to do a good thing. Because of all the changes made to the tax code a couple years ago, you know, they took away personal exemptions, they changed the rates, they changed the standard deduction. The form was completely revamped. And I've got to tell you, they tried, but they've made it way too complicated for the average person. So I'm making this video because I've received a lot of phone calls from clients. This video is for you, but it's for anybody who really has been agonizing over filling out this form and really wants to understand how it works, what you should do, the things that you don't have to worry about. I'm going to go over all that stuff with you right now on this video. So I encourage you to watch the video to the very end. I've spent a lot of time with the form. I've done all the calculations, various scenarios, and I'm going to explain it all to you and how it works. So let's dive in. Here's a quick summary of the form. There are 5 parts to it, steps 1 through 5. And they've attached 2 worksheets, a multiple jobs worksheet, we'll talk about that in a minute, and a deductions worksheet where you can add additional deductions if you have them. But not everyone needs to fill out each step. Now step 1, this is where you put in your personal information. And then you check the box to tell the employer what's your filing status, because remember, we're taxed based on our filing status. So the statuses that you can select from are single, married filing separately, married filing jointly, qualified widower, probably didn't know that one existed, and head of household. By the way, the qualifying widower is someone whose spouse has passed away during the last 2 years, and they're allowed to file using married filing jointly rates, and those rates are better than even head of household. And you would go into step 2 if your family has more than one job. So for instance, if you're single and you have more than one job, you would fill out step 2. If you're married and both spouses work, you would fill out step 2. Step 3 is filled out if you have children or if you have dependents, like a parent perhaps. Step 4, you'd want to fill out, it's optional, but you'd want to fill it out if you have other taxable income, if you want to be a little bit more accurate with your W-4. Other income like interest, dividends, retirement income, that sort of thing, or if you have additional deductions. You would go into the deductions worksheet that they've attached to the form, and they'll walk you through how to come up with a number to add to that part of the form. Now remember, most of us take the standard deduction. Remember that a couple of years ago, the standard deduction practically doubled. So a lot of folks aren't itemizing anymore. But in case you are, here's a spot if you want to tweak down the amount and get a little bit more accurate about how much to withhold from your check. You can use this part of the form, fill out the deduction worksheet, and it will help you add that number to that field on the form. There's also a spot for additional withholding. If you want to increase your withholding a little bit and maybe pad it a little bit, you can put an extra amount. Editor, take us to the form. Here's the new W-4 form, showing the 5 steps I mentioned prior. In step 1, this is where you put in your personal information, and then you check the box as to your filing status, single or married filing separately, married filing jointly, or qualified widower, or head of household. Now, I want to point out that if there is only one job in your family, check the box, fill in your personal information, sign and date it, and you're done. You'll only move into step 2 if there's more than one job in your family. So let's talk about that. Step 2 has A, B, and C. In part A, they mention that you should use the estimator if you want the most accurate calculation of withholding. It will give you all of the numbers to put in all of the fields in the W-4. I mentioned prior that it takes a long time. You have to have an internet connection to get onto their site. You have to spend time answering all of their questions. You may not understand all the questions. You may get confused. You may not understand all the jargon. So it takes a little bit more time. It's not applicable for everyone, but it is definitely the most private and most accurate way of doing this. Part B says to use the multiple jobs worksheet and enter the result below on step 4C. So we're going to go into that in just a minute. Step C says if you're married filing jointly and you both make about the same amount of money, check the box and move on. I've tested this and it works. If you're within about 20% of wages between the two of you, then checking this box definitely gives you an accurate withholding amount. You'll go into step 3 if you have dependents, child or parent perhaps. That'll give you the child tax credit or the $500 credit for other dependents. That'll reduce your withholdings. You'll go into step 4 if you want to tweak this calculation for withholding by including other income that wouldn't be a part of your W-2, like interest, dividends, and capital gains, or retirement income, income from a pension, or from a withdrawal from a 401k or an IRA. That's where you would put that in 4A. In 4B, if you happen to itemize deductions, of course, less and less folks itemize because the standard deduction has gone way up. So, but if you do itemize, we'll go into the deduction worksheet in a second, and we'll go through the calculation, and we'll come up with a number to put into 4B, and that'll reduce your withholdings. 4C is an area for just adding extra withholding if you want additional withholding taken out of your check. It's also used in conjunction with step 2B and the multiple jobs worksheet. Here's the multiple jobs worksheet. Why don't we do an example? Spouse number 1, let's say they make $150,000 a year. Let's say spouse number 2 makes $90,000 a year. What we're going to do is we're going to go to a table that's supplied with this worksheet, and we're going to figure out what to put in line 1. You'll notice that there are 3 sections that represent the various filing statuses. Let's go to married filing jointly at the top. The highest paid salary will be selected from the column on the left. That's $150,000 a year. We'll move to the right until we reach the column that contains the lowest paying salary, which is $90,000 a year. And there's our number, $15,340. Let's put that in line 1 on the multiple jobs worksheet. Okay, we found our number for line 1, $15,340. We don't have 3 jobs, so we'll skip that part and go to line 3. It's asking us for the number of pay periods per year for the highest paying job. Well, let's say this person is being paid twice a month, which is called semi-monthly. That would be 2 checks a month or 24 checks per year. And let's put in 24. And if we divide that into the $15,340, we get $639. And that's the number that we enter in line step 4C. Okay, let's fill out the deductions worksheet. This is for those that are going to be itemizing deductions, that have deductions that are over the married filing joint amount of $25,900. So let's just pretend that our couple has a house with a mortgage and they pay $24,000 a year of interest. Their SALT taxes are maxed out at $10,000, which stands for state and local income taxes. That includes real estate taxes, DMV fees, and your state income tax that you pay. Let's say they max that out at $10,000, and then let's say that they have donations to charity of $5,000. So that all totals $39,000. Line 2, we enter $25,900. Subtract that from the 39 and enter that on line 3 for $13,100. Line 4 is for any other thing like an estimate of your student loan interest. If you're contributing to an IRA, you'd put that in there, any other kinds of adjustments. Let's say that's 0. So we'll transfer that $13,000 to that line, and we'll put the $13,100 in step 4B. Let's fill out the rest of the form for our fictitious couple. We put in the personal information of the highest paid person in the family. Let's pretend that they have 3 children under 17. That would give them a child tax credit of $6,000. 3 times 2,000. Say they have no other dependents, so we'll transfer that number here. They have no other income. From the deductions worksheet, we know that number is $13,100. And from the multiple jobs worksheet, that number is $639. So we are done with the highest paid person. I want to point out that the lowest paid person in the family also fills out a W-4, but they don't copy this one and turn it in. What they do is simply check the married filing joint box and fill in their personal information and sign and date it, and they're done. That'll give you the best result. A lot of people have complained about privacy issues with this form. If you think about it, by completing steps 3 and 4, your employer knows much more about you than maybe you want them to. You can simply complete step 1 only if you want. This will take out the most tax. I guess you could say it's like claiming single zero on the old W-4 form. You know, in creating this new W-4 form, the IRS was trying their best to compensate for the huge changes that were made to the tax code back in 2017 with the TCJA Act. It's the Tax Cut Jobs Act. And that act took effect in 2018. And if you can remember, Congress messed with the withholding tables in 2018. So people's take-home checks went way up and they loved it. What everyone didn't know was that the government overcompensated for the tax changes. When it came time for folks to get their tax returns done, they got a big surprise. They owed money. Even though taxes came down, they owed money. They couldn't figure it out. They were furious. This is what led to the revamping of the W-4 form. You know, I think the new form probably does a better job in withholding the right amount, but it's too lengthy, it's too complicated. People just guess when they fill out the form. You know, I'm all about people having control over their tax lives. That's what this channel's all about. That means they know exactly what the result is going to be before their taxes are prepared. Not knowing where you stand tax-wise is not good planning, and it's simply not good for your life. Don't let this happen to you. I encourage you. Share this video out to all your friends. You'll be a hero because you'll help them get rid of the frustration in filling out the form. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video.